Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Nemopack. How are you guys doing today? How's life? Today is the day that we are going to generate a lot of RF and break out of our little bubble. I was looking for an area which we can set up a power plant, and this place looks nice. We will do it here. This project is going to be incredibly expensive, and I do have a very long shopping list. The first item on the list is quartz. The second item on the list is redstone. Actually, since we are poor, anything that we can grab. Hello. We can walk on lava, so it's fine for us. If we want to generate RF, we first have to take care of the fuel. And just in case you're wondering, that is the fuel. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be our rudimentary kelp farm. It's nothing too fancy, it's actually completely vanilla and there's nothing modded in it. Well, at least with the kelp farm. With the collection system, yes, we do have conveyor belts from Create. And the way that it works is that basically you have a block, you plant the kelp, you have a piston, and then you have an observer block. And just behind the observer blocks, you do have a line of redstone which will activate the pistons and will break the kelp. Of course, you might notice that the kelp is not being collected on the conveyor belt, so I was hoping for that we should be able to use an open crate from Botania with a hopper hook. That should collect it, and you should drop it on the conveyor belt. Yes. Oops, I broke the conveyor belt, it's fine. That was my only hopper hook and we need to craft a few more, but there are also other items from Botania that I want which are locked after the Alpine portal, so we need to make that one as well. Yeah, I'm assuming that is enough charcoal. I don't really remember how many we need, but I think we will go with 6. Of course, for convenience, we're also going to convert them into floating versions so that we can place them anywhere that we want. Actually, that single hopper hook is doing a great job. Look! So here is a question. Can we put the hopper hook on top? Will you collect things from here? Hopefully. It seems that you do. The range is good. Therefore, if that is the case, we shall have another one in the middle. And for symmetry purposes, we need to have one more over there. Also, for some very weird reason, we get fishes from aquaculture. And I was thinking maybe we should set a filter for the hopper hook. And the way that you do that is through an item frame. We just have to put an item frame on the open crate and add a kelp. So this will only gather kelp. Because I did have an incident where a fish died and fell on the conveyor belt. We have already fixed the collection system for the fuel. Now we need to process it. In this mod pack, you can convert the kelp into kelp blocks and then smelt it down into dried kelp. Of course, we can also smelt down the kelp and then convert it into blocks, but I think this is going to be much faster. Because you have to smelt down 9 kelp into dried kelp and then make the block. In this way, you just have to smelt one item and you will get the block. And this is the reason that I want to unlock the Alpine portal, because there is something that we can craft which is called a crafty crate. It requires dreamwood. I'm hoping that there are not going to be that many surprises with the recipes and we can just craft it. In any case, we are going to need 1 terra steel, which I have all the ingredients. And now we should work on getting the natural pylon. Ooh, it's expensive. And I do not have that many blaze rods. Oh, that actually gives you a better yield. So instead of 2, we will get 3 and there's a 50% chance of getting 3 more. Why not? That gave us 14. Actually, we only need 2 mana diamonds. It's not that bad. Yeah, the recipe for the elven gateway core has not been changed, so we should be able to manage it. So I have already made the pylons, we have the elven gateway core, and let us make the portal itself. The center one, we have to switch it with this one. There you go. We have our 2 mana pools, we do have 2 mana tablets, which I'm going to drop inside them, and that should be plenty of mana so that we can open the portal. At least that is the hope. I think that should be enough mana. Can we open it? Yes. So what we want is dreamwood, let us get it. We upgrade our Lexica Botania, and for the moment I think that should be it. The crafting crate itself does not have a terrible recipe, so there you go. And I think the only thing that we have to do is to put the crafting crate over here, and that will craft us the blocks. But we also need to cook the blocks, and therefore we need to have a furnace over here. And there you go, we are processing the fuel. So why did we need fuel? Well, in this mod pack we are gated by generating RF. That is our biggest issue. Correct? And at this stage of the game we have 2 methods of generating RF. One of them is the mana flux field from Botania, which actually gives you a decent amount of RF, but the problem is that getting mana is a pain. The second option is the alternator, but this one also has a very giant flaw. The way that the alternator works is that it's going to convert kinetic energy from create into RF. The problem is that each 100 stress units is only 1 RF, and that is really bad. Because for example, this windmill that you see over here is relatively massive and it has more than 1 stack of sails, but it will only generate us 46 RF per tick. We need somewhere around, I don't know, 500 RF per tick. So we are going to use a furnace engine from Create because that will generate us 16,000 stress units and it even looks cool. However, there is a catch to it. It has to be running. And that is the problem. Otherwise, it's not going to generate anything. And just before you say it, no, an external heater from Immersive Engineering is disabled. So let us talk about the furnace engine. Well, first off, it does not have to be a furnace. It can also be a blast furnace. And if you switch it with a blast furnace, it's actually going to generate us 32,000 stress units. So you might think that we're done and we will get 320 RF per tick from this setup. No, that's not going to happen because we have another issue. There's a cap on RPM and that is 256, meaning that the alternator is only going to generate us 45 RF per tick. If we want more, we need more alternators and we need more rotational speed controllers. But on a very positive note, each one of these blast furnaces should be able to power 8 alternators. And that is very good. But here is the catch. The fuel is actually not for the blast furnace itself, it's going to be for an exoflame. An exoflame is a functional flower from Botania and it's exactly the opposite of an endoflame, meaning that it will take mana and it will fuel your furnaces. So it literally works like the external heater, but instead of RF, it just needs mana, and the fuel is for generating that mana. Let me demonstrate it for you. We put it in, we take it out, and it's functioning. So all the information that I just told you is something incredibly basic. I knew that, you knew that, everybody knew that. So why didn't I use the engine in the first place? That is a good question. Because there was no way in the world that I could provide it with infinite ores. It would have to shut down eventually. But then I saw a video from our great Dr. Rage and he had a very neat trick. Apparently if you have a chute on top of the blast furnace and then have a fan which is going to suck the items up, this will run indefinitely. When the engine is running, the fan is going to be active and it's going to pull up the ore inside the chute and it will keep it over there. But when the process in the blast furnace is completed, the engine is going to stop, the fan will stop, and the item will drop back into the blast furnace and reactivate it again. If you watch it closely, there is going to be a very small gap, but that is not important for us because that will not affect our RF generation. So me is thankful, Dr. Rage. That was a great idea. And of course there is going to be a link in the description to his video because he explains it like 1 million times better than me. All of that being said, where do we stand? Well, knowing what to do is very different than actually doing it. I have spent most of my resources on making the kelp farm itself, so I have to go mining again. And in this underground terrain generation that we have in this mod pack, you actually hunt more mobs rather than gathering ores. But I do need those resources in order to craft an extra engine, rotational controller, and 12 more alternators. Of course, you might think that after that we're done. No, I actually have to lay out the plan for the power plant itself, and that's going to be time consuming as well. So it is done, but there is one giant flaw. I was not expecting it to get symmetrical, but somehow it turned out very symmetrical. And I did not center it with the pond. So I think what I have to do is that I have to remove a huge chunk of this mountain. It's not going to take that much time, but I was hoping to avoid this. The power plant is finally complete, it's centered, and it's almost fully functional. The reason that I'm saying it's almost fully functional is because that we need to hook up the alternators into an HP capacitor bank so that we can use it around our world. So basically what I'm trying to say is that we're just missing some connectors. I do have an HP capacitor bank, which I think it should be almost full? No. 2.6 million RF, it's not that bad. And I'm also working on a facade and we're going to complete it today. But just before I finish the building itself, I thought I should bring you in for a very small recap. So ladies and gentlemen, we have a vanilla kelp farm which is providing us with kelp. The kelps are picked up by hopper hogs and they're dropped onto a conveyor belt. The conveyor belt goes into a smart chute which is only going to pick up kelp because we also have fish inside the tank, and those go inside the crafty crate from Botania which is making us kelp blocks. And the crafty crate is actually making us the kelp blocks from Upgrade Aquatic because it's much more efficient to smelt one item instead of 9. And then we will get dried kelp. We do have a furnace which is processing the kelp and it is being powered by an exoflame from Botania which is getting its mana from this mana pool over here, and we are also generating mana using the kelp blocks. We also have 2 exoflames over here which are powering our blast furnaces, and we are getting very cheaty rotational energy from Create. Each one of these wheels that you see over here is generating us 32,000 stress units, so that's a total of 64,000, and we are converting that into electricity. I could have fitted 3 more alternators over here, but I wanted it to be symmetrical, so it's okay. We can be inefficient. But one very important point, you don't actually need to have an exoflame in order to power the furnaces because you're producing kelp, you can just use the kelp. The reason that I'm doing it like this is because I want to have a backlog of kelp blocks, which is something that we can use over here as fuel for our endoflames to generate mana. Also, there are a few things that I want to do. First off, let us get some mana pearls, and we need to convert one of them into a pixie dust, and we are going to use it in order to make a recessive augment. I'm actually going to use it on this mana pool so that I don't have to empty it every 5 seconds. And maybe we should add one more mana pool, just in case. Oh, Horologium is out tonight. Ew. We should be prepared. Also, one more thing that I really want to do is to try and get one more Terra Steel. Just one. Because I want to upgrade my Band of Mana to the Greater Band of Mana. I think one very important thing that we should do is that we need an elevator. Oh, and by the way, there is one more important choice that I have made which is not going to make any sense, but I'm going to do that anyways. I am going to craft a few of this andesite casing for decorations. And the reason that I'm saying it's a very stupid idea is because each 4 of them requires a steel ingot. But it looks nice, so I like it. It's okay, I can craft more later on, we are out of andesite. It is also turning into nighttime and Horologium is in the night sky, so we should do some enchantments. And this time I'm actually going to listen to you guys and do it exactly the way that you told me. Let us see if it works. I do have a few backups, so if this goes wrong, we can do it again. Isn't it night? Oh, they're here, okay. So there was a comment that I should have 3 of them and they should overlap. Oh, I forgot books. So if I put a book, what will you give me? Please. Be something nice. Fortune 4. That's actually not that bad. There was one more comment which said that you should have more than 1 constellation. So let us try. Don't really know why I chose that one, but it's done. I don't even know what it does. Yeah, I should have chosen Avitus because this is garbage. I'm even going to throw it away. We try to make them overlap and we also get Avitus. Give me something nice. Please. Fortune 4, looting 3. And mending, obviously. It's not the worst, I'm actually happy with this. Because if you look at my astral perks, I already have +1 level of fortune. I have not just been electrocuting myself, but I did manage to work a little bit on the facade for our power plant. It's not complete obviously and it needs a lot more details. I also removed this part of the mountain and I should also remove that one as well. And also I have to cover the tank, but I think we will leave that for another episode. But the whole point of today was to generate a little bit of RF so that we can process steel faster. So let us do that. This is of course going to be a very temporary setup, so I'm not going to bother with it that much, but we are going to have some LV capacitors over here, and I'm assuming we can hook them up to the HV capacitors which have 4 million RF. We just set you guys to output and we should be okay? Yeah, we are okay. The one on the right has power. Okay, cool. And now both of them have power, so we are processing steel much faster. That is awesome. It does consume quite a bit of RF. Yeah, actually it's not that bad because 100,000 was the buffer of the LV capacitor, so we're good. Also, talking about very temporary setups, that is also a very temporary setup, because I think by the time that we manage to extract oil, that thing will be obsolete. Anyways, there is something that I want from Eidolon and that is called the Sword of Zapping. We need to perform a ritual for it, and for that we also need a shadow gem. If you guys remember last episode we were hunting ghasts and that was the reason. The problem is that last episode I actually forgot. So before we make the shadow gem, we need to make the essence of death. That is my favorite essence. So it is zombie heart, rotten flesh. We get a chemical reaction, we add 2 bone meal, we stir twice, and then a charcoal. Essence of death. And I just do it one more time. Perfect. So I have 8 essence of death. Can I make 4 of these? Depends on how many gas tiers we have. We have 4. This is a very complicated recipe and I'm sure I'm going to mess it up. So maybe we should have a gap here so that I know that I have to stir. Okay, so coal goes in, gas tier, essence of death, stir once, 2 soul shards, essence of death, stir once, and 1 diamond. I got it! First try. I just need to do this 3 more times. I'm a master magician. Who would have guessed? Perfection. You go back in. Fun fact of the day, if you want to craft something which requires a gas tier, do not use all of your gas tiers. Well, there is one over there. And actually my tunnel goes there. You see, these are the perks of having a tunnel. Are you here? Nope. Can you come here? Probably not. So many stupid mobs spawn in the nether that I think they're occupying the entire mob cap. Oh, there's one over there. Perfect. Yes. Oh, it's in lava. I think it's below us. Oh yes, it is. I was correct. And he dropped it. I have a feeling that we have everything we need, but we shall know soon enough. We need to find the village. Actually, flint and steel. Yep. I forgot. If you read the book, in order to get the Sword of Zapping, we are going to require 10 hearts worth of living creatures. And that is exactly why we need to find the village, because darkness doesn't have a heart. That's not good. There was a village. Oh, it's here. They have a weird color. Oops, we run. Now that it has been a while and I have walked to the village, I just remembered Cows are also living creatures. It's okay, villagers are more fun. We have 7 items to offer, so oh, hello. You scared me. I was going to say that we have 7 items to offer. The sword goes on this guy. We have to get rid of you. Okay, they do a crazy amount of damage. I had no idea. I'm gonna die. Actually, maybe not. You shall be missed. Anyhow, we should be able to put the hands over here. Thank you for coming here. Can you come into the hole? This is an ability from Quark. If you hold an emerald in your hand, villagers will follow you. Anyway, the potion of harming goes over there, 2 nether warts, 1 gas tier, 2 soul shards, and 1 shadow gem. Let us hope that it works. Bye bye. Ladies and gentlemen, the sword of zapping. It's actually a terrible sword, but it has leech on it. So if I kill something, I should gain health? Yes. Anyways, let me gather some food, and I will see you back at the base. I think instead of finding food, food found me. Is that an outpost? Interesting. So I just climbed the entire thing for basically a trash can. It's fine, there's also a desert temple over there, and we're going to be rich. I am going to cover it just in case, because once I had an accident that a creeper fell on my head. So what do we get? Holy locket. I can walk faster on sand. So can I wear this? Do we walk fast? Ooh, yeah. This is great! I do not have enough experience to upgrade my sword or my pickaxe, so I was thinking in the meanwhile we work on some other projects. Our Botania setup is very temporary, but the problem is that it's right in my face, so I was thinking that maybe we dig a tunnel over here and try to fit everything inside this room. I could not dig that way because that's the river and it's not very good for the flowers. Also, mana itself is incredibly important for us early game, so maybe we can also improve our production a little bit. Also, the reason that I can mine a 3x1 area is because this is an ability from the Terra Shatterer, and this is why we need a lot of mana. Because the more that you infuse it with mana by dropping it inside the mana pool, your digging area will increase. And I think eventually you can increase it to 13 by 13 by 13, which is ridiculous. So I have moved everything from our front yard into our basement over here, and it is exactly the same garbage setup that we had. But we are going to make it very fancy by using a pasture seed. And have grass. Also, I did find an overgrowth seed, so we're gonna use it. Another thing that I have noticed is that this setup that we have over here can only power 12 endo flames. I have 16, and you might notice that some of them are not functioning. And the reason that they are not functioning is that the coal is actually not being dropped fast enough. So maybe if we have 2 of them, we can have a little bit more endo flames? I don't know, it's something incredibly cheap, so let us do that anyways. Yeah, it's a little bit better, all of them are active. I even added 2 more. I just wanted to give you a very small update on the blast furnace. So it is going to consume 2 million RF, 1 million RF from each capacitor bank in order to give us 1 stack of steel ingots. Which is not that bad, because now that we have a decent supply of RF, we should be able to advance to immersive engineering, which is going to be our next age, and that requires a lot of steel for everything. Also, we have to start immersive engineering by making a crusher, because in order to make the heavy engineering blocks, we need electrum grit, which you only get it from a crusher. There is no other recipe for it. But you might also notice that in order to make any type of engineering block, we need an integrated circuit. For the alternators that you see over here, I crafted every single one manually, but I'm thinking maybe there's a way of automating the crafters from create? Oh, we can ponder. Oh, you can connect them, okay. That makes sense. Yeah, but I'm not going to do it with conveyor belts, it's too complicated. So here is a question. If I put a hopper in the back and, I don't know, put something in it, will it go in? Yes. Oh, we're short on iron. Nice. So for making the circuit itself, we need 9 crafters in this configuration. Oh, and they are facing the correct way. Cool. The 3 bottom ones are for nuggets, so we should be able to connect them and just use 1 hopper for nuggets. The 2 on the sides are redstone, so we should be able to connect them as well. And the one on the top, oh, it's not gonna work. Because you know, if you put something like this and you drop something in it, it will go into this hopper. Yep. Well, I do have a bit of a stupid system over here, but I think it's going to work. So redstone goes over here, and half of that goes over here. We also provide you with nuggets and lapis plates on the top. So if I give you rose quartz, will you craft something for me? Yeah, it does. Not that bad. We just have to cover it. So the question is, if I put an adjustable crate over here, will you do this automatically? You're out of redstone. This is my last piece of redstone. That's it. Will you put it inside the crate? Maybe? Yes. Perfect. I did try to cover it as best as I can, but the problem is that we're extremely poor, and you might notice that we're missing a few blocks, but it's not a problem. In between the episodes I will go mining and maybe we will have some resources. I'm waiting for Cubby. Ah, there he is. Anyway guys, I think it's also a good time to wrap up the episode. Me and Cubby would like to thank you for watching, and we hope you enjoyed it. Till the next one, bye bye.